What's going on, everyone? Real exciting show last night. Poison the Well, Converge, Spy, and Balmora at the Palladium in Worcester, Massachusetts. Nearly sold out. Well, the downstairs was packed. I don't know about the balcony part, but there were a lot of people, and the crowd was active pretty much the whole show, which is always awesome to see. And like a good active, nobody seemed to be being dicks, so that's extra nice. And just real fast, when I talk about shows, right, I can only talk about them from my vantage point. Apparently, when I did the review on the Circle Jerks concert, apparently some people towards the back of the floor had like a really different experience. So I can't speak to everything, but from my perspective and from like the things I hear, that's what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. Balmora, right? Definitely a band with some hype behind its name. They're going to release their first album in 2 months. The Connecticut band. They came out and they put on a good set. It was a little bit, they had some good energy. Their stage area was restricted a little bit because of all the other bands, but they had a good set. A lot of the crowd seemed to be out there for them, and the crowd seemed to really like them. They played about 25 minutes. I think that's a band where, like, if they play their cards right, and I know you can say this about any band, but I think that they have kind of a head start, so if they play their cards right, they can really develop into something with a bit of staying power. So it was a good opener. Spy was up next from the Bay Area. And Spy's an interesting group, kind of a crossover, right? Like some metal, some punk, and a few other elements in there. But they put on a really good set last night. Probably, to me, my taste, they probably had the second best set of the night. Really good energy, kind of that frenetic energy. The vocalists like stomping back and forth, left and right. Lots of energy, throwing fists and kicks, and for me, it's an enjoyable thing. But I think they were pretty good at engaging with the crowd, and that's just like the crowd got extra active at that point, which is always a good thing to see, right? Crowd surfers and such, and the crowd didn't slow down from then on out. So I always love to see that. And they played, I don't know, 30-ish, 35-ish minutes. Their songs are much shorter. So they played, I don't know, 12 or 15 songs, but really good set from Spy. So that's a group. I've seen them once before, and I was looking forward to seeing them again. I've also seen Balmora once before, and I don't know how long they've been together, but I think that Spy can definitely keep like a groove for itself if it doesn't alter what it's doing too much. Kind of like a Spirit World, right, where they have a thing, nobody else is really doing it, it's working for them. People really like it. So really good punk rock attitude from Spy. Then Converge came on, right, and they released an album earlier this year, and they're releasing a second album soon. And they're a Boston area band, more or less. And man, there's just something about that band. So when I watch them, I feel like they're playing with a really good level of conviction of we are making something good, and they seem kind of carefree in the sense that each musician is up there doing their thing, but also doing it as part of the collective. And I think Jacob is just an excellent frontman. Intense performance, crowd interactions, really cool kind of self-presentation. Doesn't override the other members when they're doing something. And is like this awesome combination of living his art and presenting his art, and then also like, oh, I'm a frontman, so I have to kind of do that too. And I think he does it really well. Granted, I'm newer to Converge as far as like seeing them live and whatnot, but I think to me they're one of the, like, I feel like I'm going to enjoy them every time I see them, not just because of the music. Yeah, so that was the band I mainly went for. They did great. I think I do prefer them in a headlining role, though. I think that even as main support, for me, I think there's just a little bit lost, and nothing against the band at all. I think I just want to see them play longer and be more focused on them. But they did great. Of course, the crowd loved it. And then Poison the Well, who I'm very new to. I've really only listened to them like twice, and that being their new album. Personal taste, not really for me. I dig the music. The vocals don't really work for me. But like objectively speaking, they had a good show, right? Some good energy, some good back and forth with the crowd. Not a ton of talking. They had some like good lighting that went with it. And they were a fan favorite in that there were a lot of people who had like the nostalgia of Poison the Well from back then. So like it was an older bunch of people who wanted to live that. It was a younger crowd who wanted to like come out and be a part of their reunion. So it was a good dynamic. The crowd was really interesting as the Poison the Well set went on. The crowd went harder and harder and harder, and I feel like that is something I haven't noticed in a while. It may be happening, but I feel like a crowd goes and the tone's kind of set early during a set. But the crowd went harder and harder. Toward the end, it was pretty chaotic and kind of nonstop. So I will never complain about that. I love when bands can deliver that. Clearly the fans loved it. And they played... It was, I want to say like an hour. But they seemed to play a good mix of the stuff that the people wanted to hear, and plus a few of their, news things. And so overall, it was a good night, kind of a somewhat of a mixed genre bill, which, I'm hoping we see more of that, right? Different styles, kind of hardcore, metalcore, kind of this punk thing. And I feel like it really brings a lot of people together. It's great seeing the old and the young crowd together. It's great seeing all sorts of identities at the shows, because we want everybody included here. We want people who love this and want to be a part of it and want the music to continue to live through live performance. So that being said, really good show. If you get a chance to catch the tour, please do. I think it'll be worth your while. And of course, supporting the musicians is nice. I won't go into it because I don't want to like badmouth anybody, but apparently there was some drama with one of the bands having some attitude, so it caused some delays and stuff. I don't know. I just hope that it was a one-off and that other people get kind of a fuller, different energy type of show. You could feel it a little bit at a certain point, but probably didn't need to bring that up. But I feel like you also need to bring that up. You know what I mean? So I will have some of the footage linked below. And my next show is this coming Sunday the 12th. Yeah, it's Paul Bearer and Noel and a band called Orth, I think you pronounce it, Ordth, at the Stone Church in Vermont. Really cool little stone church venue. So looking forward to that, and I forget what I have after that. But anyway, see you soon.